And I talked and talked and talked about age discrimination as one example, and that, people who are over the age of 40 can do things just as well as those who are under 40 and better because they've experienced. And you still get students who you put a slide up there and you say, older workers are not very good workers. True, yeah, I believe that. You still have fundamental beliefs. I'm like, what have I been doing for the last 2 weeks? Just trying to get past some of that where they still fall back. They go, I already know that. That's fact. You don't want to hire people who are over the age of 40. Okay, well, I need to keep hammering it, repeating it, and so that helps also to try to reduce some of that barrier. Okay, here's another one, another true-false. Outside salespeople, along with executives and administrators, are exempt from overtime provisions under the Fair Labor Standards Act. And I think I have a 10-second timer. Oh, only a 6 because it's a true-false. And in that case, that's true. I don't have mine set up quite as fancy, so we missed that one. Since 1 is true and the answer is true, outside salespeople are exempt from overtime provisions. Here's a multiple choice typical question that will be on the next review session for the end of the semester. Social Security insurance program is funded by employer contributions, employee contributions with matching employer contributions, and then general contributions or employee contributions and general tax funds. Oops. And again, I usually give them 10 seconds on a multiple choice once we get in the rhythm of going forward. I like it because the students then on this type of question, a lot of them have heard. They're like, yeah, Social Security, I've heard of that. I remember her talking about it. And then we talk about it. I get feedback every semester from them after a test. They say, you asked tricky questions. I wasn't asking tricky questions. They're difficult questions because you really didn't learn the material. You just heard it. So in this case, it's number 3. That Social Security program is funded with employee contributions of 6.2, I'm sorry, 6.2% from the employee side and 6.2% from the employer side. So that's something that they should know, and we've gone through a number of times. The next step, and maybe Lisa, you want to talk about, is you designed the survey itself.
What we wanted to do is find how they, as they were engaged in this process, did they feel it was of value to their learning process? So yes, they have the incentive to be there. They know that these exam questions are going to, 20% of them are going to be utilized in something they'll see very shortly. But overall, did they feel it added value to their academic journey within this particular class? And as my background's marketing research too, and I always like to ask questions so that you don't get the people that just do 3333, 222, 111. So we'd ask it both ways. So that did you enjoy using the clickers? Did you find it was distracting in class? And so that they had to read through and thoughtfully process what we were asking them so we could get those cognitive and affective components.
I've never asked you, but when you originally wrote the survey, did you intentionally write it with cognitive and affective intentionally? Okay, because it's very clear. I didn't know that, and so then when I analyzed the actual data, I could see the 2 factors. I read through them. I said, oh, it's split into cognitive and affective elements. So that was something we did sort of, I guess, as a scientific method. Was I didn't know that, and you didn't know how I factor analyzed it, I suppose.
It worked out so well.
Yeah, it turned out. I was like, wow, look, she asked questions. We're good. 10-item scale, then, is what Lisa wrote as a alpha for reliability for across the 10. We had a 0.9, so real high factor there. 2 factors clearly emerged when I did factor analysis, and then I looked at the questions. 4 fell into the cognitive element, 6 fell into affective response. Overall, the scale, it was a 1 to 7 scale. 5.88 was the overall average. That's after reverse scoring. There was a reverse scored question in the affective scale. We asked the question using TurningPoint response cards was informative. The numbers behind, that's the range within our responses. The N was 62, so we did this with 2 of the management 3450, the HR class, 30 in one class and 32 in the other approximately. Again, all juniors, seniors, traditional students. That's the other element I've missed in describing this. I don't think I had any non-traditional students at all that semester. Now I usually get 1 or 2 is all per semester, and I don't. There's not enough big enough sample for me to really give some advice on how non-traditional students were to respond to this. So very high, 5.86. You can see all of those were close to 6. They liked the instant feedback. They liked the chance that they knew or could identify areas where they needed to go back and study. And I stress that. If I see something where students are not getting overwhelming 70% accurate, I say, write it down, go back and study it, and I keep hammering them on that. I play sort of a game about it in class. There is a gaming element to using TurningPoint that I think people can't deny. And for me, right before I'll put up the question, I'll say, okay, the next one, 100%, let's go. And okay, we're really going to try this time. And, we'll get 96% or something, and somebody will go, who was the dummy? And they tease each other, and I like that lightheartedness about the subject area, particularly when I'm talking about some really tough things like performance appraisals and discrimination and, who didn't know that? You can't do that. You can't ask that question in an interview. It brings some lightheartedness, so hopefully the kids will remember, or the students will remember that. You can see the other responses. Was it beneficial to learning? That was the one that I think scored the highest of all 10 questions. They feel like they're learning something. Are they? I don't have pre-test measures. I've only ever taught this class at Eastern Illinois University using TurningPoint. From the very first week I was on campus, Lisa brought it to me, and I kind of blame Lisa a little because she brought this to me, and I was a new faculty member. She goes, oh, everybody uses this. You need to use this. Okay. So I slave away using the software, and then I ask around, and I find out nobody uses it. Nobody. I'm the only one. So I was like, Lisa, and she goes, well, I mean, everybody's going to use it. And you're the leader now. You're using it first. So I never knew any better. So that's how I got roped into it right from the beginning. So I can't tell you.
Got a lot of I didn't qualify that with our new faculty. The dean had an initiative with the new faculty that had started in, and she really wanted them to be saturated with this new tool to help them as a way to, again, collect research for publications, and then, again, to ease that whole transition into the college environment.
Yeah. But the year that I came in, I was the only new faculty member in the School of Business. So while Lisa was pitching this to all the new faculty, it was just me. I had no comparative reference. Oh, yeah. It depends on how you cut it, Doug. I don't know. We still speak to each other, so that's a good sign. But I was like, darn, after I was up here till midnight 4 nights in a row working on this. But anyway, the students feel like it adds value. And like I said, if I didn't do it, they would be upset. I was in a classroom last spring that was our interestingly enough, it's our collaborative classroom. It's our high technology classroom. And we could not use the TurningPoint system with the laptop checkout. We didn't have enough ports, or I never figured out what the technology glitch was. So that class, I would run it just as a regular PowerPoint, and they would just go, yeah, A, C, and those students still catch me in the hall and say, we need to take another class with you because we never got to use the clickers. So I will say that I actually, I guess, had that data. I never surveyed them because I knew they were really disappointed that they never got to use it. So I didn't want to know how disappointed they were. In the affective elements, then, we had the 6 items. You can see the reverse-coded one is starred there, that they were distracting was our question overall. We did have some people who said, yeah, they felt they were distracting. They would have preferred not to have to go through the gaming element, I suppose. It made the class more enjoyable. That was our highest scored element. Should be used whenever possible. I like the fact that was actually one of the lower numbers. If you look up there, if they're going 777, they actually did go inside the scale and say, no, it shouldn't be used everywhere. That the students clearly saw some limitations. That's one of the reasons why I resisted using some of the things like moment-to-moment polling, using it for quizzes. That there's still a security element from having pencil and paper. And so I think that they see that too, that they like how I'm using it right now. They thought it would be welcomed in the classroom, though, thought it was easy to use, and it helped confirm the topics, the ones that they knew. They were like, okay, I know that one. I don't need to go back and study it again tonight before the test. That's another element. I usually do my review sessions on a Tuesday and the exams on a Thursday. So it's pretty quick. I know that they will not usually start studying until tonight for the test on Thursday. My review session with TurningPoint will be their first exposure to really studying for the exam. Even though they had a review sheet last week they could start on, it really kicks off. Here's what I already know, so I don't need to go back and spend a lot of time on that tonight and tomorrow to study for the test.